using this. Make sure everybody can hear what I'm talking about. Because look, this is big. Opening up an organizing center here on the south side of the city that Donald Trump is trying to make ground zero for a vicious assault on black people. And look, I've only been in Chicago a few days, this stretch. Every day I've checked out the Tribune in the morning. And sadly, every day they have had an article about how many black people were killed by other black people. Sometimes it's young people killing each other. Other times it's people just caught up in the crossfire of this. This is heartbreaking to hear this happen. To have to live over this. This is unacceptable and it's got to be stopped. And we got to say who and what is responsible for this. Because they try to tell us, well, it's your kids doing this shit. Or it's your fault because you didn't turn the TV off and make them do their homework. That's bullshit. Our kids did not create the conditions that have them caught up in this crime and violence. Their parents didn't create the conditions that got them caught up in that. This capitalist imperialist system created those conditions. Who took away the jobs and left no future out there for our young people? It was this capitalist imperialist system and a chase after profits, looking for workers that they could exploit more viciously in other parts of the world. Who geared the educational system to fail our youth? Again, it's the system. Who's got the pigs out here spreading terror in our community? The courts geared to operate to warehouse our young people in prison. And then, when they get out of jail, they get treated like they are pariah. They can't find work, can't do nothing. It's all set up to keep people caught up in this. That's the source of this problem. And the solution is making a revolution and getting rid of this system. And I'm going to come back to that in a minute. But see, it's infuriating to see Donald Trump talking about, if Chicago can't deal with this carnage, I got a plan to fix it. I'm going to send the feds in. See, and when he says he's going to send the feds in, ain't no concern about black people involved in this. And if anybody thinks he's saying he's going to send federal resources to find jobs for the young people or educational opportunities, they being played for a fool or they fooling themselves, because that ain't what it's about. What it's about is sensing an opportunity to justify an even more vicious clampdown on black people in this situation and moving to seize that opportunity. Because look, he does have a plan to fix Chicago, and that plan was laid out in here. Will there be some jobs involved in it? Yeah, there will. They're going to put some black people in charge, or not in charge, but give them jobs enforcing this clampdown on black people. You could go back to the plantations in slavery days. Massa was white. The overseers were white. But then they had some drivers, people who were right just on top of the slaves, making sure they did the work, making sure they got the quotas, cracking the whip on them when they didn't. And they would have a few black people do that. So they're going to have some black enforcers of this. More black cops, maybe. More black jail guards. Maybe they'll hire some black people to be immigration agents, rounding up immigrants, tearing families apart, sending people out of the country. And then maybe there'll be some other jobs for people who support this reign of terror, as long as they stay with the reign of terror. But that's what the jobs are going to be. There's also going to be an educational component to it, but it's not going to be an educational component that prepares our youth for the future and to make something, to be something, to play a role in bringing about a different future. It's going to be training them as Christian fundamentalist robots who can't think critically and will not resist. That's what the educational component is going to be. And like it says in there, the sharp edge of it is going to be a clampdown and bringing federal forces in to join with the police in carrying this out. Now, if you want to get a glimpse of what that might look like, well, John Cass, the columnist for the Chicago Tribune, gave you that glimpse. He did a column a few days ago where he said, federalize the National Guard, send them to Chicago, build concrete barriers around certain targeted black neighborhoods, have the National Guard staff those concrete barriers. Everybody who wants to come into those neighborhoods or come out of those neighborhoods has to be checked out by the Guard. And then flood the police inside those concrete barriers so there's cops on top of everybody in there. This is what they want to put out. This is what they want to put down. Now think about this. In other words, black people in Chicago will have martial law declared on them. Neighborhoods will become 21st century versions of the Warsaw Ghetto back in Nazi Germany back in the 1930s and 40s. And that's where they put the Jewish people as the first step of segregating them from the rest of German society. Step 2 was taking them off to the extermination camps. And it could end up there. That's what these motherfuckers is talking about. That is their plan to fix Chicago. And this is something that must not be allowed to go down. Can't be allowed to happen. See, now, there are reasons why they're going for this extreme plan. And it actually goes back to this system, the way it works, and the hell that it's enforced on black people, and the way that black people have responded to that hell. And there's a quote from Bob Avakian that I want to read to you because it speaks to what this means and what can come out of this. Bob Avakian says, there is the potential for something of unprecedented beauty to arise out of unspeakable ugliness. Black people playing a crucial role in putting an end at long last to this system which has for so long not just exploited but dehumanized, terrorized, and tormented them in 1,000 ways. Putting an end to this in the only way it can be done, by fighting to emancipate humanity, to put an end to the long night in which human society has been divided into masters and slaves, and the masses of humanity have been lashed, beaten, raped, slaughtered, shackled, and shrouded in ignorance and misery. That has been the reality, but out of that ugly reality, something beautiful can come. And folks that run this system have some awareness of that and a great fear of it happening. Because they know that when black people have fought back, when black people have stood up, it's created space for others to stand up, to fight against injustice. It's opened the eyes of others to what's going on. And it's had other people, and black people as well, beginning to call into question the whole setup. Not just one particular part of it, but the whole thing. And that's what they were afraid, that they're afraid could happen. And let's just be for real. Obama, when he was presiding over this system, was trying to deal with the same problem. He had a way to try to do it that combined repression with some honeyed words and some cool out. It didn't work. So now they're going with this extreme Trump-Pence program. You know, martial law, clamp down, crack down, calling on some people to become enforcers for this, to join the system in bringing this down on people. And that combination of things. Well, we got to stop this from going down. We got to drive this system out. We got to drive this fascist regime out, and we got to overthrow this system. And let me bring these two things together. We got to drive this fascist Trump-Pence regime out because it is not only going to intensify all of the horrors that this system brings down on people. I mean, and you just name it, whether that's running amok around the world, waging wars for empire, destroying the very environment of the planet, slamming women back into their place, terrorizing immigrants, rounding them up, ripping their families apart, and enforcing white supremacy on black people. This has already been going on. This ain't a new thing. Well, Trump is going to put all that on steroids, and then on top of that, he is moving to take away the legal rights that people have to fight against that and even to criticize it. If a regime like that is allowed to stay in power, to consolidate and get itself working on the good foot, it would be far, far, far harder to do anything about what the system does to people. So we got to get with everybody, wherever they're coming from, to drive this regime out. But at the same time, we don't just want to go back to the way things were before Trump, because it was hell out there before Trump. The police didn't just start killing black people. They were killing black people and brown people in horrific numbers before that. Women were being subjected to mistreatment. Immigrants were being rounded up in record numbers under Obama. Wars for empire were being waged. All of this shit was going on. So we don't want to just go back to that. We want to end all of this once and for all, and there is a way to do that, and that way is through revolution. Like the statement says, a revolution that brings into being a socialist system, one that's far better than this one, and a system that's on the road to the end of exploitation and oppression once and for all, a truly communist world. And we've got the leadership to do that in Bob Avakian, the leader of the Revolutionary Communist Party. We've got the strategic approach for how you would make a revolution in a country like this, and it's concentrated in this document here, how we can win, how we can really make revolution. And there are copies of this here. I encourage people to check that out. We've got a blueprint for the society that could be brought into being in this document, the Constitution for the New Socialist Republic in North America. I also encourage people to check that out. So we can do this revolution, and there's organization to work with, learn from, study with, and to join with to make this revolution. And that's the Revolutionary Communist Party and the Revolution Club. Like I said before, right now the revolution has to go through a stage of driving out this fascist Trump-Pence regime. It's an urgent necessity to do that before it's too late, but we also have to do that as part of getting ready for revolution, to get rid of the whole system and end all of this stuff once and for all. And we have a plan to begin working on all of that right now. The statement that we read for you at the beginning of this brief program here, tens of thousands of copies of that statement got to get out all over Chicago. That's already started. Especially it's got to get out on the south side and the west side. People need to be a part of doing that. We also have to get this poster and the stickers that say no in the name of humanity. We refuse to accept a fascist America. People need to be a part of doing that. You need to be part of sounding the alarm on this program that the Trump regime has for black people, because too many people are sleeping on it, or even thinking there might be something good in it, or that at least it would be better than the way things are now. No, it will not be better. It will be worse. And it will involve too many black people in helping to make it worse for other black people and other oppressed people as well. And that is not the way to go out, sisters and brothers. You do not want to become part of the oppressors carrying out oppression on black people or anybody else. You want to be a part of ending oppression for everybody. That's the way the stand we got to take. And we got to be struggling with our youth to get out of fighting and killing each other and catching people up in the crossfire of that. And we also got to be struggling with people to get out of the system's way of thinking and the system's way of looking at things. What's in it for me? What am I going to get out of this? Fuck everybody else. I want mine. No, that's not the way. Just think back on slavery. Would slavery have ended if every enslaved person was like, well, what's in it for me? There would have been no coming together to fight to end slavery. There would have been no slave rebellions. Harriet Tubman would not have gone down south again and again and again to free people, to liberate people from slavery. Because if Harriet said, what's in it for me, she'd have been like, I got away. Let them other people get themselves away. That's on them. No, that ain't it. We got to actually see the need to come together, see what the source of the problem is, and join together to fight it. We got to become emancipators of humanity. So that's mostly what I wanted to lay out. We also have a plan for an action that we're going to be taking very soon to deal with this. And somebody is going to come up and speak to what that plan is. Right? No, Gloria is going to come up and speak on what that is. So I'm going to bring up Gloria. Some of y'all know Gloria.